So the perfect start to this is an introduction of yourself. So if you want to just now talk about your gaming history and your accomplishments in Overwatch, who are you as a player? You can go.
Okay, so I started playing Overwatch on console about 2 years ago, and I eventually transferred to PC. I was a top player on console, but I came to PC because PC got all the Overwatch updates first, and it was bigger for Twitch streaming, and it was something that I wanted to get into. And when I first came to PC, I made a name for myself as like a really good Junkrat player, and then eventually after like about 4 seasons or so, I didn't really want to be known as only a Junkrat player because I played a lot of heroes, but people didn't really know that.
Hmm.
So now I'm pretty much just playing everything on stream. I try to showcase flex gameplay. I play all tanks, DPS, and supports, and I've hit top 10 a few times on PC, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, awesome. So we'll start with this super open-ended before getting into specifics. To you, just generally, what does it take to become a 4400 and up player?
I think the basic answer I could give you is try to improve your game sense. And when I say that, a lot of people they don't really fully understand what game sense really is. And it's pretty much just predicting what the other team's going to do before they do it and knowing what you're supposed to be doing before it happens, like how to react to what the enemy team does or what you're supposed to be doing on the next fight. I know Overwatch is a mechanically intensive game, but I would say this game is 90% game sense, considering you can pick heroes that require almost no mechanical skill, and you can still compete at the top ranks. You could get top 100 playing these heroes.
Yeah.
So game sense is extremely important.
Okay, yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. Going with game sense over mechanics to really better yourself the most. But all right, so I guess now we're going to start getting into more specific stuff. And so now one of my favorite questions here on the list that I've created is 4400 plus. So I guess is being a high-ranking top 500, is it a hobby or a lifestyle? What is the sacrifice that you have to make to be able to hang with players that good?
I know that there are players that do play Overwatch just strictly as a hobby. They don't play a ton. They do reach high ranks like 4400 plus, but most of the people that I know, they grind this game a lot. Like I personally play over 10 hours a day almost every single day, and that's a lifestyle. I'm a full-time content creator for Overwatch. I've been full-time for about 2 years, so I just play every day, all day. But there are people I know that do play as a hobby, and I think you just got to take into account how you perceive the game when you're playing, because you can play it as a hobby, but when you're spending the time playing it, you do want to take it seriously and make sure that you're really trying your hardest to improve and focus on the game while you're playing it, no matter how much time you're spending on the game per day.
Definitely. Would you find that most of the other top 500 players, is this really a lifestyle to them, or is it more they just kind of play for fun every once in a while?
I would say it's more of a lifestyle. The reason I say that is because people take this game very, very, very seriously. This is why you see a lot of on social media when people get frustrated over topics. There's a lot of frustration with Overwatch because people take it very seriously. They treat it like an actual sport. There's people, when they grow up, they play football, they want to go pro, and they take it very seriously, and they do everything they can to become the best at football. People do the same thing for Overwatch. They take it as serious as possible. A lot of them want to go pro, and it's the same thing, basically.
Okay. And so the next question is, where did you start in competitive gaming? So before Overwatch at all, were you grinding any games before, or did you just step into Overwatch and become a star?
So growing up, I played a lot of sports. I was always a really, really competitive person. I pretty much played every sport I could. I think the first game that I really took seriously was COD 4.
Oh,
And I
nice
played
one.
I played a lot of game battles. Like I've hit rank 1 ladder on a few different modes on game battles, like solos and duos. And I took that game very seriously. That's when I first started like grinding games a lot and like getting away from regular sports and just playing more and more games.
Okay.
And then I kind of just grew up playing COD after COD. And then I got into PC gaming. I think the first PC game that I really took seriously was World of Warcraft, and I started playing in high school. I played Wrath of the Lich King was my first game, and I got really high ranks for Arena in that game and Rated Battlegrounds, and I did some heroic raids as well. But eventually I led to Overwatch, and then as soon as I started playing Overwatch, they actually didn't have competitive or arcade. They only had quick play.
I remember those days, yeah.
Still, with my competitive nature playing quick play, I still wanted to be the best. So
Definitely.
I played it a lot. And then eventually they released competitive. And the first season I hit top 20 on console. So that's just like how serious I took the game, even when they didn't even have competitive. And I still took that over into PC, and I wanted to be the best on PC. I wanted to make a name for myself, and here I am today.
Yeah, and so you do have some of the experience, especially in the FPS genre, you being a Call of Duty 4 player. Would you know maybe off the top of your head, like how many hours you maybe would have put into Call of Duty back in the day?
I couldn't even give you an estimate, but I definitely played so much that my parents would be mad, like a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, the
Like
same story for me.
Yeah, over 8 hours a day, like every day.
Nice. And so I guess you kind of touched on this. The next question is, how good were you when Overwatch came out? You said you peaked top 20 on console. And was that really... Did you feel like you were top 20 capable even when the game was just quick play? Or did you have to grind a ton to be able to do that?
Well, I was already playing... So after playing so many years of Call of Duty and competing in like, just small online tournaments and playing serious with my friends, when I went to Overwatch, I kind of just came in with the same mentality, and I just wanted to get really good really quickly. And I had just like that competitive nature, and I was already competing at the top for other games. So I kind of just, I don't know, I just felt like I felt like I was good at Overwatch, and I knew I loved the game. And when competitive first came out, I knew that I was playing extremely well compared to a lot of the other players. And it just worked out. I just tried my best and made my way to the top.
Okay. So now we're getting into some of the actual gameplay specifics. How many hours a day would you suggest someone be playing if they want to be a 4,400 plus player?
I thought about this for a while, and I'm not completely sure because honestly I play so much that I'm not 100% sure on this answer. I think it would have to be at least 2 hours at the very minimum. Because games last, let's say, like, I don't know, the average time maybe 20 minutes, so you can probably fit in like 6 games or 5 to 7 games within 2 hours. And I feel like that is, if you're taking the game very seriously within that 2 hour mark, you can climb and grind to 4,400. But I think what other people don't take into account, that 4,400 players, they don't just log in Overwatch, play the 2 hours, and then get off and just do other things. People are browsing social medias, watching YouTube videos, checking Reddit posts, learning new tips on the meta. They're watching other Twitch streamers, and it's, they're paying attention, and they're trying to get as much knowledge as possible to make themselves better.
Yeah.
So I don't know how successful someone could be just only playing a couple hours a day and then just like flipping the switch and not paying attention to Overwatch at all.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that really does hit back to what we were talking about earlier with the lifestyle, that it really is like a nonstop sucking in information and trying to get better. You never clock out, I guess I should say. And so this is for getting into a specific detail about actually climbing on the ladder and ranked. In your experience, should you be playing one role or one hero? So like going DPS, or maybe just picking one specific DPS hero like Tracer and picking and playing nothing but that?
So I think currently the most popular thing is people getting good at one role. You have the support mains, you got the tank mains, you got the DPS mains. There are a lot of people that do one trick. They'll focus only on one hero, and they will climb. There is a lot of one tricks in high ranks. I don't recommend that you do this because it's just I think it's bad manner to one trick. I don't personally. I've done it before in the past. I've done one trick challenges, and I just don't think it's a good thing to do in this game and competitive environment. But what I really recommend to new players that are getting into the game, or players that are maybe lower ranks, let's say like gold or plat, and they want to try to improve for the future, is to get good at 2 heroes from each role. That way you can always have a hero that you can play for your team, that you can play well on, and that you know you can play well on. And it's not too much to take in at once. I mean, 6 heroes can be a lot for a player that's trying to learn everything about each of those heroes. But I think they can manage that. But at the very, very least, try to focus on one role. But I do recommend at least 2 heroes from each role.
Okay. And now what about your hero pool? You talked earlier about being a Junkrat one trick and then changing. How has your hero pool changed since season 1?
All right, so a lot of people don't really realize this, but on console, I played pretty much every hero besides Hitscan. I did play Hitscan quite a bit, but I definitely never touched Widow until like way later.
Okay.
But I primarily played tanks and projectile DPS. I actually played tank for my team on console back in season 3, which we used to play in the same league where you guys know the GOATS composition, the GOATS team. They were playing in the same environment as my team was playing in. But when I came to PC during season 4, I really wanted to, I loved Junkrat. He was my favorite hero, and I wanted to get known. And at the time, there was a really popular challenge called Bronze to GM, and a lot of people were doing it. Yeah. So I did that, and it kind of just exploded. It really put my name out there, and people started realizing holy, damn, he's crazy at Junkrat. This is cool to watch, and he's good, and he's high rank. And that got me known, but it also got me known as a Junkrat one trick, which was completely false. I had hundreds and hundreds of hours. I'll send you a picture of my career profile showing the hours of all the heroes I played on console.
Oh boy.
But yeah, so I played a lot of Junkrat season 4 and 5, and I got known for someone who could only play Junkrat, which was definitely not true. And towards season 7 or 8, that's when I started showcasing that I could play all these other heroes and focus on tanks and showcase my other projectile DPS. But I actually never really played Hitscan. I did play a little bit of McCree and Tracer, but I never really played Soldier and Widow, so I did make some Hitscan accounts to get better at those later on.
Okay. And so the next question here, how do you feel like someone should learn to position a 4400 player? Is it as simple as just watching streamers and try to soak in what they are doing? Or should it just be learning from your deaths in game, or a combination of both? What do you think?
All right, so the general tip that I always tell people, I was actually doing a cool coaching stream last night where I was playing the game, and I'd have someone a viewer in my chat join Discord call with me, and they would talk to me one-on-one as I'm playing, and they would pick the hero that they would want me to play. So I would play, let's say, Tracer, and I would talk to them and try and teach them as I'm playing, tell them what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And the first thing I would always tell them is pay attention to what the other team comp is. And once you know their team comp, you can figure out the major threats that you have to worry about. So if I'm playing Tracer and the other team has a Brigitte, an Ana, and a McCree, the 3 biggest threats that I have to worry about is Sleep Dart, Shield Bash, and McCree Stun. And once I realize those threats, it helps me figure out my positioning, because I can position around those threats, and I can try to get more value based on avoiding those or working my way around them. It works the same for every other hero. Let's say I'm playing Ana. Sorry if you hear noise in the background. My dog's jumping on the door.
It's all right.
Let's say I'm playing Ana, and the major threats that I could worry about are a Widowmaker, let's say a Tracer. So what I could do is, if the other team has a Widowmaker, I want to try and find a sight line that allows me to heal my team, but also allows me to avoid the Widowmaker from headshotting me. Or if there's a Tracer, then I could probably position near a health pack or position near my off support. So it's always, every hero you're playing, no matter what, always try to figure out what can kill you on the other team, what's your threat, and then based on that, you can work around what positioning you're supposed to be working towards.
Okay. And for the next question, one that I'm always surprised about, the amount of players that really don't have one of these, but do you need a high refresh rate monitors, let's say 144 hertz and up?
So I actually have a funny story. On console, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 60 hertz.
I think
on
so.
Console.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I first came to PC, I bought a 144 hertz monitor, because that was just the normal thing to do when, like, if you take the game seriously, you buy a 144 hertz monitor, which I still recommend. I think 144 hertz is definitely miles better than 60 hertz. But what I didn't realize, as coming from a console player, I actually didn't know that you had to change the setting on your 144 hertz monitor to 144 hertz. So I was playing on 60 hertz for like 2 seasons on PC, and I still hit top 100 multiple times. And I was, as a fresh console player coming to PC, playing his first FPS game, and I played on 60 hertz, and then someone told me, and I was like, wait, what? Why do you have to go in your monitor settings to change to 144 hertz? That doesn't make any sense. And then once I did that, it was like I put the HD goggles on, and I was like, holy shit, this is crazy.
Yeah, I remember that first time too. Changing the set. Actually, for me, it was in game like Overwatch. It'll say normal 1080p, but then there's another option, 1080p 144, and I had just normal 1080p on at first. Oh man, the first time I saw it with 144, that was a great day.
Yeah. So what I try to tell people is, if you're just a casual gamer, get a 60 hertz monitor. It's fine. If you're playing the game and you're playing it competitive, let's say you play regular sports and you joined a league and you're playing that seriously, you're going to buy the good equipment, right? You want the good stuff, the good baseball bat or the good football pads. I recommend buying the 144 hertz monitor. It's so good. It's infinitely better than 60 hertz. But currently I have a 240 hertz monitor, and 240 hertz definitely is way better than 144, but it's not like to a point where you need to get it. It's just kind of just refining things and perfecting things, and it just feels better, but 144 hertz is perfectly fine.
Okay. Yeah, that's something I've been curious about because I'm still on 144. But moving on to the next question, talking about how serious you've been taking bettering yourself as a player. So I've heard and looked online, a lot of people talk about scrimming and how that is such a big way to improve. Did you ever scrim, and should players be scrimming if they aspire to hit 4,400?
So scrimming, you don't need to scrim to get 4,400, but the best answer I could give really is that if you do scrim, it's going to boost you to the top a lot quicker because you're surrounding yourself with other people that are like-mindseted, and they're just simply, I'm not going to say better, but people that take the game way more seriously, and you can get more tips and tricks and learn faster when you scrim compared to just the competitive environment. So yeah, like you don't need to scrim to get 4,400. You can do it. I rarely scrimmed. I mean, I played scrims with my team on console, but when I first came to PC, I never did scrims until like maybe for fun around like season 9. But yeah, so if you want to improve quicker, definitely try and get in some scrims, even if it's just pick up games with other players. You'll realize that you'll learn the game much quicker, and you'll have other people there that can give you constructive criticism and that you can talk to without them getting tilted and leaving voice chat and raging and throwing games and stuff. So
yeah,
it's just a much better environment to learn.
That sounds really nice. Yeah. And so if you're not scrimming, what if we're just playing normal competitive? We're just queuing for ranked. Is playing normal comp practice, or do you need to deliberately be practicing something outside of it?
I think playing normal comp is practice. It just depends. Like I said earlier, it depends on your mindset of how you're looking at things when you're queuing competitive. Some people they just queue competitive because they want to just have some fun, and they'll just play the game and they don't really care. They don't really, they'll make a mistake and they don't think about it. It doesn't really matter. They lose the game, they'll queue up again, and that's fine. I mean, that's just the way it is. But if you're really trying to improve and become a 4,400 player, every time you make a mistake, you should realize, like, okay, I did this. Why was that wrong? Should I do that next time? How can I improve? Or even the other way around. Every time you do something good, like you did like a 4-man blade and you deflected a sleep dart or something, be like, why did I do that? Why was that good? Should I do that again? Can I get punished if I do that again? Think about like things like that.
Okay. Questioning everything, it sounds like. So how much time do you find yourself spending in custom games, if any? Like you see a lot of streamers, I think like Dante, Sinatra, Kefi are good examples. They're in custom games or in the training grounds just doing headshots. Is that important at all?
So I'm not generally a hit scan player. I have made an account dedicated to playing hit scan only, and I have hit top 500 on it, but I'm not near mechanically skilled as all the pros or like all the top 500 hit scan players. They're infinitely better mechanically than me. I do recommend that if you want to play hit scan, you should do like aim training drills in customs, like, or even going to the practice range and shooting bots. That can help a lot. And I know a lot of the players, I think like Effect and a lot of the McCree and Widow players, they'll play and Wanted. They'll do those like aim games where they call like
Osu
Aim
or something?
Hero. Yeah, like, or you could do Osu, yeah, or Aim Hero, and that I'm pretty sure that does take a huge role in helping their mechanical aim. But I don't really play hit scan that much. I only pick Tracer when I need to get back to the point, install and frag out, or if I just randomly feel like playing McCree, I'll do that. But I mainly focus on tanks and projectile DPS. So I don't do a lot of aim training. I'm also weird. I never warm up. Like, I talk to some of my friends. They feel like I have a duo partner in Blackout because I do want to go pro in that game.
Yeah.
And he tells me that every time he gets on, he needs to like warm up. He needs to practice. And I'm like completely the opposite. When I turn my PC on, I just jump straight into a game and I'm completely fine. But yeah, so I don't know. I do recommend warming up and doing other aim training drills though.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that actually, because I always thought I was kind of weird. I never really warm up when I turn on Overwatch. I kind of just want to jump in. It's pretty rare when I do warm up, and if I do warm up, it's usually only because I'm gonna, like, I know I'm gonna be playing McCree or something. But okay,
Yeah.
The next question, from your perspective and your experience on the ladder, should you be solo queuing or like stacking with other players, and does it even matter?
I think no matter what you do, it's fine. I think you'll probably have the best experience duo queuing, because when you duo queue, you always have that dependable teammate that you can work with and learn with and just, become like a strong core of every team. So let's say like you're a Winston player and your friend is a Diva player. Every game you guys can run dive tanks and you can pretty much just carry your team through playing really high quality tank play. And or you could do like, if you're a Widow main and you have a Mercy main, you have that dependable Mercy pocket to help you out every single game. So try to find like a good complement to your hero set and find someone to duo with. But you can solo queue perfectly fine. You can solo queue all the way to 4,400. Playing in a 3-stack, I'm not 100% sure in lower ranks how that would work out, because I know when you do like stacks, like 3 stacks, 4 stacks, it does unbalance lobbies drastically. Either it puts you against a really bad opponent or it puts you against an insane opponent.
Yeah.
So if you do group up like 3, 4, 5, 6 stack, you do need to realize that some games you'll just straight up lose no matter what, because balancing and matchmaking isn't perfect. But those games that you lose, it's good because, if you're with a group of people that are playing together to learn and you're losing, that means you have something to improve on. So you just need to focus on what you can improve on and help you become a better player.
Okay. And what do you find yourself doing mostly? Do you mostly solo or mostly duo?
I solo queue 98% of my games.
Okay.
I do message some other high ranked friends and streamers and see if they want to play every now and then, but most of the time I just solo queue. I think the big reason why I like to solo queue is because I like to pick just like random heroes and just do whatever I want. And unless I'm duoing with someone else that also does that, it doesn't really work out, because let's say I'm playing with someone who only plays supports, and then I feel like playing support one game, and then we have us two playing support, and then we get 2 other support mains on our team, and then it's kind of like, okay, I guess I just can't play support this game because we have so many support players.
Yeah.
So that's why I prefer to solo queue.
Okay. So let's say we're in game, we're in a comp game. How much should you be talking and calling plays? Should you assume the role of an in-game leader?
So there's many different things you can do in voice chat. I'm the type of person that talks a lot. I in-game lead. I like to like remind my team what ults the enemy team has. I try to set up ult combos between other players on my team. I try to I try to keep as much communication with the team as possible, because I think it's really, really important and it helps a lot. I know some people are like I guess I'll say like afraid to talk. So you don't have to necessarily be the in-game leader and doing all that, but making a call out every now and then, like, hey guys, the Genji has Blade. I think they're going to use Blade here. Maybe we should try to figure out how to stop it. Like, simple call outs like that can really change the tide of an entire game. So it just depends on how comfortable someone is with talking with teammates and how they want to handle it. Something I do recommend is if you're going to be someone that talks a lot and tries to like lead teams, you got to remember that not everyone that is there to listen, especially if you're solo queuing. And when people don't listen, you just have to realize that that's just the way it is, and you can't get too frustrated. I mean, I do get frustrated sometimes, but I just try to remember, like, there's nothing you can do about it. Just try and focus on what's coming up next.
Okay. And so you talked earlier about how you'll find yourself playing like 10 hours a day, just grinding games and trying to get better. How much time out of game would you spend on Overwatch on top of the 10 plus hours you've already spent? Do you find yourself spending really any time on the forums, watching videos, doing anything, or are you just done and you're unplugged once you're off stream?
Well, I think I'm a unique case since I'm a full-time Overwatch content creator. I spend like 15 hours a day doing Overwatch, regardless of playing offline or online. So I do spend a lot of time offline. I try to, I do stuff with my social medias, so I have to like manage my own YouTube and my own Twitch channel and my Twitter and Discord and all that stuff. But when I do have like free time, I am spending it in other people's Twitch streams and watching YouTube videos and searching Reddit and, talking with people on Discord. So I spend a lot of time. It's pretty much all my time. I have pulled back just a little bit lately because I've been playing a lot of Blackout, but I still spend like a ridiculous number of hours on Overwatch.
Okay.
Offline and online.
All right, so that's going to bring us to the last question I have for you, and this one's more of a scenario, and I'm just interested to hear what you'd say. So let's say a player is a 3000 SR Reinhardt main, so they just hit Diamond, and they're wanting to climb up to 4400. What's the first thing they should be doing, and what should they be working towards to hit that goal as a Diamond?
As a Diamond player, I think the number one, I would just like to say that like the number one mistake that people make when they're lower rank is that they really, really tunnel vision. I think that really is the biggest thing is, well, not only a game sense as in predicting like what the enemy team is going to do it and knowing what you should do before you do it, but I think a lot of people tunnel vision at lower ranks. So try to work on that. And one tip I give people is instead of looking for people to kill and looking for enemies to kill, look around at your teammates and look for people to help. And that'll kind of help with awareness and tunnel visioning. But as let's say a 3000 SR Reinhardt player, I mean, not only do I recommend that he or she should get good at Winston or Orisa as well, because they're all main tanks, and you can definitely climb to 4400 just playing strictly main tanks. But if you're a Reinhardt main, things that you should focus on is always tracking the other Reinhardt's Earth Shatter and trying to predict when he's going to do it. A really popular combo right now that is actually going to be fixed. It's fixed on PTR is the Brigitte Shield Bash into Reinhardt Shatter. Pretty much the only way you can stop that right now is by somehow backing up, but you can't really just back up from a Brig. So you got to try and ask your Zarya to bubble you whenever that's going to happen. So it's really the little things. You got to try and improve your gameplay slightly. Going back to the tip that I gave earlier about like how Anna has to worry about the sight lines of a Widowmaker, so she can also heal her teammates.
Yeah,
the Reinhardt player should always do the same thing. Like the Reinhardt should be like, okay, I have a big shield. What's the other team comp? What can they do to kill my teammates behind the shield? If they have a Widow, try and zone the Widow out as much as possible. If you're going to drop your shield, let your team know that you're going to drop your shield so they don't get picked off. If the other team has a let's say Junkrat, maybe try to conserve your shield uptime as much as possible. Like as your, let's say for example, Volskaya Industry on attack, when you're walking into the first point, maybe try to just don't hold your shield against the Junkrat spam as you're walking in. Just tell everyone to like dodge the nades and walk left, and then by the time you get to the point, you have full shield value, and the other Reinhardt only has like 1000 shield. So his shield's going to break first, and you'll have shield, and you guys can push forward. I think in the Reinhardt versus Reinhardt matchup, it's really important to maintain a better shield uptime. But it goes for any hero. Let's say it's a 3000 SR Widow main. I mean, there's a lot of things you need to take into account for, like Widow versus Widow matchup. Does that Widow have grapple hook? Or if they have a Genji, do I need to keep watching my flank to make sure the Genji doesn't surprise me? Or where should I put my Widow mine? Where do I think that if this Genji's done the same flank 3 times in a row, should I watch for that again? Should I put a Widow mine there? So you always got to ask yourself questions no matter what hero you're playing.
Okay. Yeah, that seems really helpful. But all right, that's all the questions I have for you, PvP. I really appreciate you coming on to the channel and talking about this. And I'll make sure to have all of your links in the description so people can go and find you live whenever they want to. And yeah, thank you again so much, man. And it was good meeting you at BlizzCon.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And it was definitely a good time meeting you. I never really talked to you before BlizzCon, so it was pretty cool meeting you and actually hanging out, like spending a good amount of time hanging out with you.
Yeah, definitely. And, it was awesome.
Yeah. If I could just say like one important thing right now is I did do a small name change lately. I was actually PvPTwitch before, and even when I met you at BlizzCon, I was PvPTwitch. But I ended up dropping the word Twitch off my name, and it's just PvPx now.
Okay.
So so people that are looking at my socials, it's PvPx.
Definitely. I'll make sure that name is the one in the video title.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you again, man. I hope to see you in my comp game soon, hopefully on my team.
Yeah.
And yeah. And for everybody watching, I hope you have a great rest of the day. Take care, everybody. See ya.